So if you're learning Moroccan Arabic, you're gonna find yourself talking about work or your studies pretty quickly. But here's the thing. Answering a simple question like, what do you study, is way more than just a vocab test. It's actually a fascinating window into Morocco's entire educational system and its really unique linguistic landscape.
Today, we're not just gonna memorize words. Nope, we are gonna solve a linguistic puzzle that you'll see pretty much everywhere in Morocco.
Just imagine this for a second. You're sitting in a cafe in Rabat, you've started a conversation with someone, and they ask you that exact question. You want to say you're studying history, or maybe it's physics. Well, how you answer that question says a lot more than just what your major is. Okay, now look at the difference here. For history, you'd say T-tarikh, which sounds, well, very Arabic, right? But for physics, you'd say L-fizik. And that sounds, a whole lot like French, doesn't it? And that right there is the heart of our puzzle today. Why the huge difference? I promise you, it is not random. There is a super clear logic at play here, and once you see it, you're going to understand the Moroccan context on a completely new level.
So what is this hidden logic? Well, it all comes down to something we can call the two-language rule. And honestly, it's beautifully simple.
Here it is. This is the key that unlocks the whole thing. The name of a school subject almost always follows the language it's taught in. This one simple rule tells you whether a subject is taught in Arabic, the national language, or in French.
And here's how it breaks down. If a subject is taught in Arabic, its name is going to come from modern standard Arabic. But if it's taught in French, which is really common for technical and scientific fields, the name is just a Moroccanized version of the French word. Simple as that.
All right, let's start by looking at the first half of this rule in action. We'll check out the subjects that really stick to their Arabic roots.
So these are usually the humanities and social sciences, fields that are deeply tied to culture, language, and society. And you can literally hear that connection in their Moroccan Darija names.
Let's run through a few examples. For history, we have T-tarikh. For law, it's Al-sukuk. Philosophy is L-falsafa, and literature is L-adab. I mean, you can clearly hear that classical Arabic foundation in every single one. These are some of the pillars of the university system, and they're all taught in Arabic.
And the pattern just keeps going. We've got economics, iqtisad, and geography and geographia. Sociology is ilm al-ijtima', which literally means the science of society. How cool is that? The consistency here is just incredible. Once you get the rule, you can almost start predicting these names. Okay, so now let's flip the coin and look at the other side of the academic world, the disciplines where French has really left its mark. This is where you really see Morocco's linguistic duality in action. We're talking primarily about the STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, and math. So listen closely for that French connection.
And here we go. Physics is L-fizik, which comes right from the French word physique. Chemistry is L-shimi from chimie. Computer science, l'informatique, straight from informatique. Even mathematics is often just called le maths. It's a direct borrowing, and it perfectly reflects the language you'd hear in the classroom.
And the list keeps going. Anthropology is called l'anthropologie. Natural sciences is often just called science, from the French, science. Now, engineering and medicine, this is where it gets super interesting. Even though they're often taught in French, their names l'handasa and tibb are actually deeply rooted in Arabic. This just goes to show you that while our rule is a fantastic guide, language is always alive and it always holds on to its history.
So let's bring this all together and turn this little linguistic puzzle into a practical tool that you can actually use.
What we just went through is so much more than a list of words to memorize. It's a map. It shows you which career paths might be more aligned with French skills and which ones are more rooted in the Arabic language system. It's like a little piece of the cultural code.
So, next time you get stuck, just use this simple little framework. First, ask yourself, is the subject in the humanities or is it a hard science? Step 2, take a guess at the language it's probably taught in. And then, for step 3, you'll know whether you should be reaching for an Arabic-sounding word or a French-inspired one. Now, you won't be right 100% of the time, but you are going to be impressively close. And that brings us to the end. But I want to leave you with a final thought to take with you. Now that you can see this pattern in academia, where else can you spot it? Think about the world of business, technology, or even just daily life in Morocco. This two-language rule, it's just the beginning.